Welcome to the Virtual Pilgrim podcast, where every step is a part of the journey. The Virtual Pilgrim podcast captures spontaneous, casual chats with people met along the Camino de Santiago, each sharing their own beliefs, stories, and ideas. What you'll hear reflects the person speaking, not the podcast or our sponsors. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing, it's about listening, connecting, and walking alongside each other, even if just for a moment. Alrighty, Frédéric, thank you for joining us on the Virtual Camino today. It's great to have you here.
Pleasure to me.
And you are the first French person I have interviewed, but definitely not the first French person on the Camino. So you were telling me earlier that you've actually gone through and you've been walking the Camino 15 days a year for 4 years. Is that correct?
Yes, it is my fourth year. I started from a French city called Le Puy-en-Velay, which is supposed to be the official starting point from France. Then the first year I went to a French city called Cahors. Second year from Cahors to Roncevaux. Third year Roncevaux to Léon.
Uh-huh.
And this year I started yesterday from Léon, hopefully to Santiago.
To Santiago. And will your journey finish in Santiago?
Yes, I will finish my journey in Santiago.
Perfect. How does that feel? You've been working at this for 4 years.
Well, I did not want to do it just for 1 month or 1 month and a half or 2 months. So I decided to cut it in parts. So I selected the cities to finish according to transportation, because I wanted to be able to go back to Paris by train or by plane or anyway.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I selected the cities I just mentioned. And I will be very happy to arrive to finish in Santiago. Normally, if everything works the way I would like it to work, normally I will be in Santiago the day of my 70th birthday.
That's amazing. That's quite a feat.
It is an accident, but a happy accident.
A happy accident.
I did not plan it when I started 4 years ago, but it should work so far. And I will be very happy to celebrate my birthday in Santiago.
Yeah, I bet. I bet. Have you been to Santiago before?
No, never.
Wow. So you'll be walking in there on your 70th birthday.
Exactly, the 26th of August.
The 26th of August.
This year, yes.
This year, yeah. That's incredible. Well, in preparation for that, congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely, congratulations. That's brilliant. Yeah.
It is an accident. Well, not exactly, but when I started, I did not plan it this way.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it happened year after year, I said it could work. I wanted to watch on TV the Olympic Games because I live in Paris. So I spent the last 2 weeks in Paris. I took the plane. I flew yesterday from Paris. No, the day I flew on Monday. Yeah, yesterday. So it should work to arrive in Santiago the 26th of August.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I wish you all the best with that. And
Thank you.
Once you finish the Camino, because it's quite a journey you've undergone, and we will come back to the Camino. But what's going to be your next adventure?
My next adventure, I traveled a lot. I traveled a lot for many years, and I stopped because of the COVID. And probably I will try to start again traveling, and I will go to the Philippines, which is in my plan for many years.
Mm-hmm. What about the Philippines has attracted you?
Because I visited most countries in Southeast Asia, and now I go a little bit further, and the next one on the map is the Philippines. I will not go to Australia for just economical reasons because it's too expensive.
That is fair. I always find it so funny because the European or the euro is so strong compared to the Australian dollar. But every time I speak to somebody from Europe or even America, they're always like, "Oh, your country is so expensive." I'm like, do you understand how weak our dollar is? But yeah, no. I also fully get the affordability of Asia. I've never been to the Philippines, but I would love to go, and I hear it's beautiful.
I think it's a very beautiful country.
So you walk the Camino every year for 15 days.
Yes.
Will you go to the Philippines for 15 days?
Probably more.
Probably more. That's
because I retired, so I have time.
Beautiful.
So I can. I will try to go there between 3 weeks and 1 month.
Okay, lovely.
Yes.
Well, what I'll do is I'll give you my WhatsApp, and if for some reason you get to the Philippines and you decide to hop the pond and come to Australia, you come stay with me, okay? It will be much cheaper than staying anywhere else.
Thank you. I know. I know that Australia is a very nice country.
It is beautiful.
Yes, it is. It is very beautiful, but it's a bit difficult to travel there for us.
Yeah. I understand that. Now, so what brought you to the Camino? Why did you decide? Because I'm presuming you've walked at this point close to 1,600 kilometers.
1,600, yes.
Is that 1,600 by the time you get to Santiago?
From Le Puy to Santiago is 1,600.
Wow, 1,600.
Yes, in 4 years.
In 4 years.
4 years.
That's outrageous. I know last year my Camino got me about 1,100, and I thought that was outrageous. But working towards 1,600 kilometers of pain, sacrifice, but also beauty. Like it's...
Today I walked with a girl who started this year in Paris.
Ooh. I met somebody I started the Camino this year in Saint-Jean, and I went I started in Roncesvalles to Estella, and I met a American woman who had started in Paris as well.
The girl I met started 2.5 months ago.
And she has just...
And she started from the very center of Paris.
Ah, wow.
There is a church. The official start from Paris is a church called Saint-Jacques in the very center of, close to the city center.
Okay.
Hôtel de Ville. And she definitely started from there up to here. And she wants to go to Santiago, of course.
Okay. Is she crazy?
No, she's not crazy. She wanted to do it, and she did it, and it worked. So no, she's not crazy.
I love that. Because when I explain to people that, like, oh yeah, we're going to go film an 800-kilometer walk, people are like, you are crazy. But having walked it previously, I don't think it's crazy.
No. Walking is, I think, is good for everything. Good for the health, good for the mind, good for the spirit, good for everything.
It's
walking, yes.
It really is. It really is. So every year, as you've kind of come back to the Camino, do you find you come at it with anticipation and excitement? Or are you like, I said I'm going to finish this?
No, I definitely like walking, and I did a lot of walking in my life, especially in the Alps. But the difference between this type of walking and the Camino, in the Camino, you talk to people.
Yes.
Much more.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you are not ready to talk to people, just this is the way I am. I don't talk easily to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Camino, for any reason, you just talk, and you meet interesting people, and you start to talk, and you talk, and you talk, and you talk. It never happened to me before in any of my trips, either traveling abroad or walking in the French mountains, the Alps, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Never.
But here, you just want to talk to the people next to you, and it happens to be interesting.
Yeah. I think something I learned on the Camino was that everybody is interesting.
Yes.
It doesn't matter
exactly
what you do, where you come from.
Exactly.
you are fascinating as a human.
And you talk.
And I think the talking allows you to open up and gives you the space, the headspace,
Yes.
and the time space to be able to listen and actually learn about different people.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it is specific to the Camino, or maybe to other Caminos, but at least this one, it works.
Yeah, I would agree. I didn't know what to expect coming on the Camino last year, and the culture on the Camino blew me away.
Yes.
And people often say the Camino provides, and I think the Camino does provide, but people meet your needs. Like I saw like one lady with like terrible sunburn, and so I gave her some like blistering sunburn on her arms. She was from Belgium, and she's like, "No, I just tan." And then the next day, it's just like red and blistering. And so I gave her some like sleeves. And then I had another friend with some knee issues, and then people were like, "Here, have some poles," or "Here, I've got this knee brace." And I think what the Camino does is everybody becomes equal. And so at that point, there's a freedom to give and to look after one another. Whereas in real life, we don't seem equal, even. If I don't know, at least in Australia, that's how it feels. And so people look after each other less.
And it depends on your own nature.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk easily to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
My wife does, but I don't.
Yeah, okay.
So, but here, for any reason, it works.
Do you
and you find people interesting?
Yeah, yeah. Do you find it difficult to have those conversations with people on the Camino, or is it just it becomes natural?
No, it's just natural.
It's just natural.
Well, when you walk, if you walk approximately at the same pace, it's easier to talk.
Yeah.
Because I started this morning, and I discovered after some hours that I had walked 25 kilometers to come here, and I said, "Oh, it's already finished," because we talked.
Yeah, it's incredible how quickly the time goes.
Oh yes.
When you're chatting to somebody. Have you also noticed if you start walking in the night or at like 6 a.m., the walk goes much quicker?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I've walked at, we once started at 2 a.m. And so we walked all night to get into Lyon last year, just because the stars were beautiful. And look, that was a long night, but I've done many 5 a.m. starts.
Yes.
And they're beautiful, and the walk is quick.
Very, very quicker. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And especially today, there is no heat, so it makes all the difference.
Wasn't it wonderful? Did you get wet today?
Oh, yes.
You did?
Just to take the cloth out of the bag, and that's all. But it was necessary to put the against the rain.
The rain jacket or
the
poncho?
Rain jacket. Yes, yeah. Yes, the rain jacket.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get wet because we have a very expensive camera with us, and it does not handle the rain.
Of course.
And so it started to rain at, it was like a super cute wooden little cafe.
And you stopped there.
We called a taxi.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yes.
And so it's cheating, but
no, of course.
It's not worth the damaging of the other camera.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I have yet to actually get wet on the Camino. Last year, I walked from Saint-Jean to Finisterre. No rain the entire time. And it was super refreshing to get a few of the hits today.
Last year, I started, as I told you, from Roncevaux, and the first day it rained all day.
When you say Roncevaux, is that
Roncalvels in Spanish?
Roncesvalles?
Just after Saint-Jean-Pied-Port, on the other side of the Pyrenees.
Yeah, that's...
The French word is Roncevaux, and I think the Spanish one is Roncalvels.
That makes perfect sense. And then in classic English, I butcher.
Thinking about walking the Camino de Santiago? A great guidebook can make your journey smoother and more enriching. Camino guides offer everything from practical advice to cultural insights, helping you get the most out of your pilgrimage. No matter if you're tackling the Inverno route or even going from Sanabres, Camino guides will surely impress. Check out the links in the description below.
About the same time of the year, half of August, it rained and it was cold the first day last year.
Yeah, okay. Because I started the Camino a month before, and so the rain never
yes,
hit me.
Okay.
But speaking of Roncesvalles, I know that it's part of Basque country.
Yes,
Does that mean that the people on the French side speak Basque
yes,
as well as French?
yes.
When you have a conversation with them, do they have an accent like
No, they don't have an accent, but they are very proud of being Basque.
Mhm.
And we had some problems with the terrorism with the Basque people from Spain coming to France or from France going to Spain. I don't say they want independence, but we at one point in history, maybe 20 years ago, we had big problems with the terrorism. Yes,
Wow.
Basque terrorism.
Basque, yeah.
They want to keep their culture, to keep their identity, not to be independent, but it went as far as terrorism.
Wow.
Both in France and in Spain.
Yeah. It's that's really surprising, but different movements create different passions, and
Yes,
yeah, it's sad that had to come to that.
of course it is.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the movement there, I have spoken to many people from Catalina or Barcelona.
Yes,
and many people from the Basque country.
They want their independence.
And the individuals I've spoken to
yes,
have definitely indicated they would
the
like
language is different.
They say the language is
the
different.
Wealth is different. Because it is the most wealthy
part of
Spain.
That'll do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't want to pay for the rest of the countries.
Yeah. I've got some friends in Australia who are from Western Australia, and there's huge amounts of the mining industry in Western Australia is huge, and they have often said that they would like to break away from the rest of Australia,
separate from
not share the wealth.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So in previous conversation, you mentioned that you also have a Swiss passport.
Yes.
How does a French man get a Swiss passport?
Because my family originally comes from Switzerland.
Oh, nice. Where in Switzerland?
In Baselstadt.
Yeah. It's beautiful there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And we kept, for any reason, the passport.
Mm-hmm. And have your children also claimed Swiss citizenship?
Yes, they are. And one of my sons, I have two sons, one of them studied in Lausanne to the engineering school, and now he's working in Switzerland, in a city called Neuchâtel.
Okay. And that's in the French-speaking part?
In the French-speaking part, yes, exactly.
I always marvel at how one little country like Switzerland can have four national
languages. Yes.
It's crazy.
But there again, the richest part is the German one. Yeah. So they consider the French one as the poor country.
Really? I remember years ago when I was there, I went to I can't remember, but I couldn't pronounce it even if I could. But a cow beauty contest, and I learned all about the fact a beautiful cow in Switzerland has a big udder but small teats. And we went around and they had these big cowbells on, and we went around and we looked at all these cows, and it was it felt very Swiss. Yeah.
Switzerland is an interesting country.
It is. Even their political system, because they've got 7 people at the head of the government?
But they are very regional. They have what they call canton. I will say between 20 and 25, something like that. And most decisions are local, except for things regarding defense, for instance. But it's locally managed.
Okay.
Yes.
That probably makes a huge difference.
And they vote very, very often.
They do.
For anything.
Yes.
Do you want to put the garden here or here? We vote.
And the winner takes all. Yeah, I remember years ago they voted on minarets.
Yes.
And what the rights were to do with the minarets.
Yes. And they said no.
Yeah, I remember being surprised.
No more new minarets to be built.
Oh, I did. So I understood, and they may have previously or since voted, but I didn't understand they banned more minarets being built. I was under the impression the vote they took at the time I was there was to state about the morning call to prayer, and they said that cannot happen.
Because it's too early.
It's nobody wants. I think it's 5 a.m.
Well, it depends on the sun.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Swiss country was like, no, thank you. Like, you're welcome here, but we're not going to embrace that.
Yeah, exactly.
They are a beautiful people, the Swiss. Now, did you grow up in Switzerland? Or
No.
So you are proper French?
Yes, 100%.
100%.
Just with the French and the Swiss passport.
And the Swiss passport.
That's all.
That's fair.
But I like to go mountaineering in Switzerland, in the Alps, which I did a lot.
It's incredible. How do the Swiss Alps compare to the French Alps?
You know, the highest mountains in the Alps are all in Switzerland, except the highest, which is the Mont Blanc, which is in France.
Okay.
But apart from this one, all the others, the most well-known summits are in Switzerland.
Okay. Yeah.
And the most beautiful, like Cervin. You don't know the Cervin?
No. Look, I don't.
Matterhorn in Germany. And the Eiger, close to Bern.
Yeah.
They are all in Switzerland, and a lot of them are in Switzerland.
Yeah, I couldn't, when I lived there, I just remember that almost every day just being blown away by like coming downstairs.
Jungfrau.
The Jungfrau. But I'd look out over is it the Ara? Ara Mountains? Oh, yeah. Sound like Arrau? No.
Yes, the canton. Yeah, Arrau. Arrau, yes.
Yeah, and it was just stunning. And then you'd look out to snow-covered mountains.
Yes.
Which in Australia is pretty rare.
Yeah, you don't have that.
No. I think there's...
Maybe in Tasmania?
Tassie doesn't actually get too much snow. It does get snow.
Sometime.
And you will at times get, I think, a little bit will last all year round. And then down near Canberra, we have the Snowy Mountains.
Yes.
And I think every now and then snow may last the whole year, but don't quote me. So how do you're definitely French. You're 100%. Did you grow up in Paris?
No. I started to live in Algeria when Algeria was part of France.
Okay.
Till 1962. 62 is the independence of Algeria.
Where's Algeria?
North Africa.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
North Africa.
Yeah.
You have Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. So Algeria was part of France at the time. It was a French department.
Okay.
Legally, and there was a war, and in 62 Algeria got its independence. So my family went back to Paris.
Wow.
So I spent 8 years in Algiers, in the capital of Algeria.
Yeah. That's incredible. I guess it makes sense because the French also, like, they have the most spread of all of the countries, don't they? By the time you go, like, France is here, and then you've got Tahiti over here.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
You did conquer a lot.
This was it dates back to the time of colonialism. So, but Algeria was not a colony; it was part of France.
It was part of France.
Yes, at one point.
That's incredible. Yeah. So looking back, do you remember your time in Algeria?
Of course.
What was that like growing up there?
And I went back. I taught banking in Algiers, and I went back to see the flat that my parents owned and the school I went to, and etc. So it was very moving for me to go there maybe 50 years later.
I bet. Yeah, that would have been powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. When I spent 2 months in Zambia last year.
Yes.
And I was out of the capital. I was 7 hours away from the capital. But I was very evidently one of the only white people there. Like I think in my time there, I saw 3 white people in that region. Was there a lot of white people in Algeria
Of course,
growing
of
up?
course. 1 million.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
1 million who came back to France in 62. In some month, 1 million people came back to France.
Wow. That's a lot to put on the economy.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And there was no problem to merge them in the country and in the economy. Now it would be probably much more difficult, but in 62 everything was relatively smooth.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Like, I'm impressed by the government's ability to do that.
Well, it's not the ability of the government, it's just the period allowed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now it will be different.
Yeah, definitely.
With the unemployment rate, etc.
Mm-hmm. Now, you live in Paris. I think Paris is the most beautiful city in the world. You are very fond of Paris yourself. What is something I should do next time I'm in Paris? And I've done most of the big touristy things. So I've been to the Eiffel Tower. I've climbed Arc de Triomphe. I've gone up the Eiffel Tower. I've driven around Paris. I've been to Champagne. I've ridden the metro. I've never been into the Moulin Rouge, but I did stay in the area of the Moulin Rouge. I've been to the I Love You.
You know that the Moulin Rouge has lost its wings.
Really?
Because of the wind. They were destroyed recently, some weeks ago.
Oh, really?
There was not a tempest, but something like a gust of wind.
Yeah.
And the winds went down.
Will they rebuild that?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's fair. Yeah. So Parisians like to protest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently, yes.
Apparently, yes. So last year when I was coming into Paris, about a month before I was coming, there was the strikes with the garbage collectors.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, as Parisians, were you in favor of the strikes that they were doing? Does all of Paris get involved in the unionization of different things, or is it kind of that's their thing?
This question is extremely difficult. The question in itself is simple. Can you live a decent life with the minimum salary?
Mm-hmm.
This is the question.
Yeah.
I would say not.
Yeah.
Because you can't. The minimum wage is 1,200 a month, and
a month.
Yes. And when you know the cost of the rent in Paris,
yeah,
you can't afford to live in Paris if you get such a small salary.
Yeah.
So I would say no. Now, are they entitled to go on strike for that? This is another question.
Yeah, that's another thing, because it really did, from my understanding, it impacted everybody in Paris.
Oh yes.
It was really problematic. I know coming into Paris, I was meeting up with some friends, and my friend's wife was so excited for Paris, and coming up to it, she was really worried about her first time in Paris just being filled with garbage everywhere. And
we were afraid that during the Olympics some people would go on strike.
Yeah.
Like the metro drivers,
mm-hmm.
the people who collect garbage, etc., etc. Of course, their salary is not very high, but is it the proper time to go on strike during the Olympics? They did not.
Yeah.
But apparently they said we might go on strike.
Thank goodness they didn't, because you guys did
it can ruin the Olympics.
100%. Imagine if the metro shuts down.
Of course. Of course. Nothing works.
And Paris, I was only at the Olympics for one day, but Paris did an incredible job with the hosting. I bought a ticket online the night before, and then I rocked up and didn't have a digital ticket, didn't have any internet, didn't have I was like, here's the verification email. But they just said, okay, come this way, sign onto our Wi-Fi here, download the app. It was really seamless.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah.
We had 45,000 volunteers.
45,000 volunteers.
And apparently every tourist says that they were all very friendly and helpful, etc.
They really were. I know that I got talking to one volunteer. We caught the metro together, and then we walked to almost to the tennis stadium together. And she was wonderful. Like she helped me out on
she spoke English.
She spoke English for it. And then on top of that, she was just, her passion for the games and for the community and the culture it's created was contagious. And now when the Olympics come to Australia in 2032, I will volunteer.
Yes.
I will,
yeah.
At least at the moment, my plan is to volunteer, because I just think what an incredible thing to be a part of.
Yes.
So did you stay in Paris for the Olympics, or did you leave?
No,
stayed
I stayed in Paris, yes.
And did you go watch any Olympics face to face? No.
Because I don't like the crowd, and it was a bit expensive, but I watched a lot on TV.
Yeah.
And it was very, very well shot, and I like the journalists, what they say about this competitor, that competitor. I think it's more interesting for me to watch on TV than to be on the spot.
Yeah, definitely. I will agree it was expensive.
Yes.
Like for me to go see the tennis, and granted, I bought a ticket in Thailand when I found my train was cancelled. So like I was mid-transit kind of thing. I was like, I just buy whatever I can. But it was 160 euros.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm going to say 250 Australian dollars.
It's too much.
That's a lot of money.
Yes.
And it was one of those things where it's like, if I'm here, I've got the time, I'm going to do nothing else when I'm in Paris for the day, I'll go. But it was a shock. Do you think that Olympic sports should be made more accessible price-wise for the community or for the locals?
Well, of course it should, but as we said, the cost was 10 billion. So
yeah, they've got to recuperate that.
Yes.
It would be nice if they set aside tickets specifically for Parisians who wanted to go,
or for children. I think they from the beginning they selected places for young people.
They did?
Yes.
Wonderful.
But of course, when the cost is so high, they must prepare an invoice for people to see the
games.
The games.
Yeah. Did you? I didn't get to see it, but I wish I had. The volleyball stadium, or the beach volleyball stadium right by the Eiffel Tower. I was just like, that is if you wanted a quintessential Parisian experience whilst going to the Olympics.
I think it was at night, or
was it?
I think.
And the tower would have been lit up.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so beautiful. Years ago, I read that the Eiffel Tower was once bought by a scrapyard. Have you heard about that story?
That what?
The Eiffel Tower was once bought by a scrap metal yard. So somebody years ago advertised in the paper selling the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal, and a company went and agreed to buy it. And so they bought all this.
No, what I know is that the engineers decided that we could take off some metal from the Eiffel Tower, and that it would stand, it would not fall down, because now we can measure more accurately than when the tower was built.
Really?
So they took off some metal, and maybe they sold part of that scrap metal.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, different story than I heard.
No,
but
what you say is originally the Eiffel Tower was built for a specific
the World Fair
meeting. Yes, yeah. World Fair, and originally it should have been dismantled after.
Yes.
But they decided to keep it.
And thank goodness.
Yes.
It is.
Well.
Yeah, it is spectacular.
Just like the flame, with the, I don't know how you call it in English, when they lit with a torch, and it went up.
The Olympic flame?
Yes, the Olympic flame, but it went in the sky with a balloons, sort of balloon.
Oh, okay.
How do you call that in English?
A hot air balloon?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now apparently they want to keep it in Paris.
Amazing.
Originally it was just designed for the Olympics, but some people said we should keep it as a monument.
Yeah.
And I think it will be done.
I hope so. I hope so. It's great, like finding the history behind things, because when, especially coming from Australia, you know of the Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
But it's not until I went to the Eiffel Tower that I learnt that it was built for the World Fair, and that it was initially meant to be pulled down.
Yes.
And in World War I think it was World War II. I could be wrong, but when the Germans were coming through,
World War II,
because it was the radio tower.
Oh yes.
They cut the lines to the lift so that if the Nazis wanted to get up there, they had to walk up all the stairs. And I just like, what a fascinating story. And I'm sure you've probably heard this as well, but during World War II, there was a dogfight between two planes, and one of the planes actually flew under the Eiffel Tower. Like, just what an incredible piece of history.
It is, yes.
And what a monument for Paris and France itself. One thing I was really surprised by is France has a big population, 68 million,
Yes.
give or take.
68.
Like that's a huge population, and the country itself is large, but it's not as big as Australia. Like it's
No, but it's empty.
yeah. France is
It's an empty country.
Australia or France.
France.
France is that's
Yes.
what I was going to say. Is France seems when you go out into the countryside empty. It's
Because
not.
it's 500,000 kilometers, square kilometers.
That's a lot of square
Yes,
kilometers.
yeah.
Yeah. What's the
But
population?
Australia is completely deserted.
Australia has a lot of
except the coast.
barely uninhabitable.
Yes,
Barely inhabitable land
Yes.
that is just smack
Yes,
bang in the middle.
Yes.
But France is, I just, every time I go into the countryside, I'm just like blown away by, number one, the beauty. But
If you take the train from Paris to Lyon,
Mhm.
you know, the TGV, what we call the TGV, it's empty. You see that nobody lives there.
yeah, it's wonderful. Like the fact that the country has managed to maintain that.
But you have 12 million people living in the Paris area.
12 million
12.
in the Paris area. That's slightly less than half of Australia's population.
But
yeah.
many people have difficult living conditions there.
Yeah.
So it's not a success.
Yeah. It's hard. I remember walking through Paris last year, and I just went. My friends and I had kind of split that day. They'd gone back to Australia, and I was continuing on in Paris for a few days. And I walked through much of like just the back streets, just kind of going wherever I could. And under one bridge, I noticed there was like quite severe homelessness there.
Yes.
And it was surprising. It was surprising to me to see, and like homelessness is everywhere.
You know what we did?
Mhm.
We took them out for the Olympics.
Did you?
Yes.
We did a similar thing with our housing department in Sydney.
Every city does the same for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like what they did in London,
Mm-hmm.
what they did in Beijing for the last Olympics.
Yeah.
They stopped the factories so that the sky will be pure and etc. etc. So you try to make the city as beautiful as possible. And what we did is to take the people living under the bridges and take them outside.
So when you say you take them outside, were they just like, hey guys, we'll put you up in accommodation for the next few weeks? Or was it
Something like that, yes, with the police. It was done with the police.
Yeah.
Yes.
That must be hard for, like really hard for, number one, the police who have to do it.
Of course.
And number two, for the people who are shifted from what has become their homes.
Yes,
know?
but they have no home. They come to France hoping to have a better life because they all come from mostly from Africa.
Oh, they're not.
No.
A lot of them aren't. I just presumed they're all French.
No. They are not French.
Ah, okay. So in Australia, I'm going to say our homeless population is Australian.
Oh yes.
Because it's so hard to get into our country.
You are too far.
We are too far, And we don't have open travel like you have in Europe.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are protected by the sea.
We are protected by the sea. It's crazy. I found out this a little while ago, and I thought it was fascinating that in Australia, we can go to New Zealand and work there whenever we want. But from what I was told, and once again, I never looked into this, but they can't come and do that to us.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, isn't
But
that...
it's a small country. So
yeah, sorry, New Zealand, you can't. You have to apply for a visa, but
Yes.
we'll come over whenever
Okay.
we want. So that's the closest thing we have. But yeah, it's interesting. So what you mentioned earlier that you're retired. You're about to hit 70. What did you do for work?
I was in the banking industry.
In the banking industry.
Working for a bank called, HSBC?
Yes.
Yes.
Very famous, very big.
Yeah. Hong Kong and Shanghai. So I worked for them.
Beautiful. Did you enjoy your job in the banking
Yes,
industry?
yes. I traveled thanks to the bank.
Amazing.
Not to Australia, but to Hong Kong, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Is that where your love for South Asia?
No. I went there before.
You went there before?
No.
And how did you get into banking?
How? Just after I started to work in audit.
Mm-hmm.
KPMG. It's one of the biggest audit companies.
I'm not aware of them.
And then I worked in a bank in Nigeria, in Lagos. We started a bank in Lagos, and then I joined HSBC.
Okay. And what about the job made it enjoyable? Other than the travel, which I'm sure was
because
great.
I was working for banking with companies,
Mm-hmm.
and you are close to companies. Some people say that the bank only says no always, and I don't know what the question is, but the answer is no. but apart from that, you try to assist the company to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I liked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. Were you able to see the growth? Like, was it easily to track for you in your job?
Well, the question is to say yes or no to a grant.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's easier to say no than to say yes, but you definitely try to help the company to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say yes.
Yeah. And when loaning money to people, I'm not sure if that was like how much of that was your job or whatnot.
It was, yes. At one point it was.
Today so much is done online where it's like
not
you apply, but back in the day it wouldn't have been.
No, not at the time.
Was that? Yeah. Was that hard? Because obviously, like, often families are coming to try and better themselves, and they think that, hey, if we can get this loan for whatever, was that hard to process?
I know it is difficult now to say. It's not my decision. You say to the customer when the customer is in front of you. You say to the customer, "It's not my decision. It's the decision of the machine, of the intelligence."
Mm-hmm.
When I did that, it was not the case. I had to explain why I will say no to the company.
Yeah,
which is not easy, but you have arguments that the customer accepts or not. But you say I'm not granting the credit for that particular reason, or etc. Or
Yeah.
I grant you the credit. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Were customers normally pretty okay with that decision? Like, could they understand, or?
Yes. Of course, when you say no to a customer, it does not. It's not happy. So.
Yeah. I can imagine. That must have. Yeah. Interesting job, because you are right. Now we just say sorry that it's the algorithm.
Exactly.
The risk is too high.
Exactly.
Sorry, mate. It's out of my hands. But back in the day,
it's not my decision.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to jump back to the Camino now. You're 45 days into Camino. So for
53.
53 days into the Camino.
53 before I started yesterday.
Okay. Jeez. You are 53 days into the Camino. Congratulations. Is there anything that you have brought this time because you're now, I like to think of a Camino veteran.
Yes.
Is there anything you've brought where you're like, I shouldn't have brought this? Like it's an extra item that I didn't require.
You mean in the bag?
Yeah, in the bag.
No. I know how to prepare my bag, so.
Mm-hmm. And
I have 6 kilos.
you have 6 kilos.
Yes.
I think I was trekking.
Plus the water.
I think last year I was walking with like 13 kilos plus water and food. It was like my bag.
So 6 kilos, everything is necessary.
Everything is necessary.
Yes.
Yeah. even this Camino right now, I've realized that I have 4 pairs of socks because I double sock each day.
I have 1 pair of socks.
I know. I'm like, I just
and
need.
And I wash it during the evening, and it's dry the next morning.
Yeah, yeah, and even like last night, I have different pairs of underwear in case one gives me some chafing, and I washed one, and it was a bit moist this morning, and I put it on, and I was like, no, life will go on.
Yes.
But it is that challenge where you just got to be like, okay,
Yes.
It was cold at 6 a.m. I was awake.
Do you want to talk to the young guys or?
I will grab them in just a bit. We'll finish up here and
Okay.
then I'll grab them. Yeah, but 6 kilos, that's amazing. Is there any advice you would give to a pilgrim who's new, who's coming in, who's gonna begin their Camino?
Take a bag as small as possible,
Yeah.
as light as possible.
Mhm.
I see so many people with a huge bag,
Yes.
and here it's supposed to be very hot.
Mhm.
So you don't need to put jumpers and etc. For the cold.
Yes, definitely. Don't judge me.
But take one raining coat, definitely. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's light, and that's all.
Yeah. Take as little as possible.
Yes.
Is your bag a hiking pack? Like
Yes.
it still has the side straps.
Yes. But it is a small one, 30 liters.
30 liters.
Yes.
I walked
which
last
is very
year
small.
with 55 liters.
Yes.
It was ridiculous.
Most people have 55, 60 liters.
It's too much.
Yes.
Coming back to it now, I
You
know
see
it's too
this
much.
jacket.
It's light, but even today as I was walking, I was
We are
like,
in Spain. We are not in Kathmandu.
Yeah, you are so right. You are so right. Even today, I was walking. I was like, I don't need this jacket. Like something lighter and smaller could have been just as efficient.
I have a small one that I've not used so far,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe I will use it.
I hope you do, just so you didn't carry it to not use it.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Frédéric, thank you so much for jumping on.
It was a pleasure to me.
It's really been.
I hope you
an
will
honor.
find something interesting for you.
I have found many things interesting. Really appreciated your time, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Camino, and I will see you on the trails.
Yes, you sleep here.
I'll sleep here tonight,
Yeah, okay.
and then depending on the camera situation,
Okay.
we may be going into Madrid to get a new camera tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the company is trying to sort. It's a pretty rare camera that we've got. Like they're pretty new, and so they're trying to source one in Spain and then get it to Madrid.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
But hopefully I get to see you on the Camino tomorrow. But if not,
Yes.
have a great time and good
Thank
luck.
you.
And
Same to you.
congratulations. Thank you very much. Cheers.